Happy New Year. If you're like most people, you've probably started off the new year with some sort of New Year's resolution, right? Maybe you want to get shredded. Maybe you want to lose that last 10 pounds. Maybe you want to make more friends. It could be anything. New Year's resolutions are great, but here's the catch. 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by February 1st. What is going on? How can you be part of the 9% of people who feel like they've achieved their New Year's resolution? You know, the answer is kind of surprising, and we're gonna get into it. I was gonna throw confetti. All I have are colored paper clips that I've never used before, so at least there's that. How can you be part of that 9%? So let's take a closer look. I've got so much paperclip confetti. These things are never coming out. Let's look at what a New Year's resolution is and see why it's kind of doomed to fail. A resolution is a goal. It is usually saying some form of like, okay, here's what I want to do and achieve this year. And it's binary, right? Like it's either you did it or you didn't. So here's the dirty little secret about goals. Goals are kind of built in with failure. They come with failure attached at the hip. And that can be a real problem if you're trying to achieve something, like a New Year's resolution. Okay, so Scott Adams, the author of Dilbert and the book How to Fail at Everything and Still Win Big, here's what he has to say about goals. To put it bluntly, goals are for losers. That's literally true most of the time. If your goal is to lose 10 pounds, you may wake up each day with failure in mind because the goal is hard to reach, and you are progressing only by small amounts. It takes up all of your willpower. I recommend instead of a goal, you have a system. Adams is right. Goals force us into a perpetual state of failure. We wake up every day and say your goal is to run a marathon. Say that's your New Year's resolution. Every day you haven't run that marathon yet because hopefully you're training. Say your goal is to gain 10 pounds or lose 10 pounds, something with 10 pounds. Every day that you haven't done it, you haven't done it, and you exist in a perpetual state of failure. It's kind of discouraging, right? Because it's like, I haven't done that thing yet. And when you actually do accomplish that goal, you kind of feel a little hollow because you're like, okay, well, I did that thing, what's next? Or, I did that thing, now my purpose for all the work that I put in, what do I do now? Okay, so what's better than goals? Goals are fine. Look, I have goals, you have goals. Goals by themselves are not bad, but they're not helpful. Or what's necessary to put with a goal to make sure that you have the best chance of getting what you want? Systems. Systems, 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 systems. Systems. The system you create is perfectly set up for the results that you're getting. The results that you get are a consequence of the system that you've created. Let's turn to author of Atomic Habits, James Clear, for some insight on systems. Now for the interesting question. If you completely ignored your goals and focused only on your systems, would you still succeed? For example, if you were a basketball coach and you ignored your goal to win a championship and focused only on what your team does at practice each day, would you still get results? I think you would. Clear says, the goal in any sport is to finish with the best score, but it would be ridiculous to spend that whole game staring at the scoreboard. The only way to actually win is to get better each day. In the words of three-time Super Bowl winner Bill Walsh, the score takes care of itself. The same is true for other areas of life. If you want better results, then forget about setting goals, focus more on your system instead. So whatever your goal happens to be, great. That's like an X on a map. I'm at A, where I want to end up is B. If you go out to your car and you input your destination in your maps, then it's going to give you the route, right? That route is the system. So at Become More Compelling, a lot of what I do is help people with their communication skills. So if I have someone who wants to start more conversations with people, say their goal is to start 2 conversations per day. Great, that's a fantastic goal. But the goal by itself is not enough. What I would tell them is, okay, so the system that we have to create to support that goal is, number one, you have to be in situations where you can talk to people, right? So you have to be at events, perhaps meetups, maybe it's networking events, maybe it's Toastmasters, could be anything. But you have to be in a room of people who are also somewhat willing to talk to you. You know, maybe don't go to the movies and be like, hey, have you seen this movie yet? You know, like Don't go places that people aren't really there to talk to people. It'll be 10x harder. It's just not worth it. So that's step one. You got to be in the right environment. Step two, have a plan for when you're actually there, right? So it is not enough to say, okay, when I'm there, I'm going to start a conversation. Okay. To me, that's still too much work. That's just too much effort. So let's break it down even smaller. There's something I teach my private coaching clients called If, When, Then. I got this from Robert Cialdini's book, Persuasion. So how it goes is, okay, you're at that meetup and you've already said to yourself before, okay, when I'm at the meetup, if I see someone who isn't talking to someone, then I'll go and say hi and introduce myself. Great. Now we're starting to get a system in place. And so, great, they go, they introduce themselves, they have a few conversations. Fantastic, that's a huge win. Celebrate that win. And then maybe they look on their calendar and they say, oh, I've already planned ahead and I've got a couple of events every other week. And so I've got opportunities to practice and I'm gonna keep doing the same things. And then in a year, yeah, they are going to be able to start a conversation with someone that they don't know. They're going to be able to have a conversation with someone that they don't know because they're getting the reps in. And yeah, while their goal still may be, I want to start more conversations, starting conversations has become part of who they are. The system matters so much more than the goal ever will. Like, yeah, okay, do that goal. I'm not here to say goals are terrible, but most people stop at goals. Don't stop at goals. Think about the system. Think about what you have to do on a weekly or daily basis to get you closer to that goal. And then time becomes your best friend because then, okay, great. I'm just doing the things every day that get me closer to the thing that I ultimately want to do. Another example to drive it home. So my New Year's resolution is to make more YouTube videos. So be sure to gently hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. But the system that I have in place is I've got time blocked out on my calendar to write notes for upcoming videos. Yeah, that's part of it, but it's also important to make that environment really seamless and really easy, right? So I'll take a picture and I'll show you a picture of what I have hooked up here, but it is my camera on a stand on wheels that I can literally wheel into the corner. And so it takes away two of the three things that I have to set up for filming. And that really lessens the friction so that I can go and create more videos for you guys. I'll be completely honest with you. An hour ago, I was watching the new Matrix movie and I was like, do I have to film today? I really don't have to film. But then I was like, okay, I want to film. It's important to me. And then I came in here, wheeled it over, set everything up, clicked the button, and then now here we are. Make your environment as easy as possible. Some further resources on this if you're interested, and I'll link them down below. James Clear's Atomic Habits, amazing book, fantastic book. Scott Adams' How to Fail at Everything and Still Win Big, great book as well. BJ Fogg's Tiny Habits. So BJ Fogg is he runs the Persuasive Technology Lab at Stanford, and I had a conversation with him back in 2013 about habits relating to social skills. And what I love about his advice is make it frictionless, like going super micro and saying like, okay, the trigger for the habit that you ultimately want, how can you design your environment to make that as easy as possible? Ask my wife. That's what I do with almost everything. I'm like, how can I make this as easy and as frictionless as possible? Because if there's friction, I know myself really well. I'm just not gonna do it. Do me a favor. I wanna know what your New Year's resolution is. So go ahead and leave me a comment down below. And you don't have to design the entire system in the comments, but just let me know, like, what daily action do you have to do to help you get to that goal, to that resolution? You got this. I believe in you. I think you can be part of the 9% that's gonna make it come December of this year. Like this video if you like it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you on the next one. If building your communication and charisma skills is important to you this year, check out my course, Breakthrough Charisma. I'm currently accepting new students. Breakthrough Charisma helps you become more charismatic and authentic in everyday situations. You'll learn everything from mindsets to conversation skills to advanced stuff like persuasion and how to be assertive. It's a great course. My students love it, and I think you will too. Link is in the description. And I don't know about these. You know, my idea was like to cascade these out. I got two. Maybe makes no sense. I've never once used a paperclip. They're called staples. What are we, heathens?